In the initial scene, Logan, who used to be called Wolverine, wakes up confused and messy in the back of a limo at night. He gets out and sees a group of Mexican thieves trying to steal the car's tires. Logan tries to stop them peacefully, but one of them shoots him. He shows his claws, which now hurt him, and one doesn't come out fully. He fights the thieves, gets beaten up, but injures and kills most of them before the rest escape. The story takes place in 2029. Even though Logan looks around 50 years old, he's actually over 170 years old and not as strong as before. His amazing healing power is getting weaker, and the metal inside his body is slowly killing him. This causes him pain and sometimes makes him cough up blood. There are very few mutants left, and no new ones have been born in the past 25 years. Logan now works as a limo driver in El Paso, Texas, using his real name, James Howlett. He also keeps a special bullet with him, in case he ever wants to end his life. As Logan waits for a customer at a funeral, a woman named Gabriela Lopez comes up to him. She says she knows who he is and asks for help, but Logan refuses. Gabriela leaves, and a young girl in the car watches Logan. One day, a man named Donald Pierce gets into Logan's limo. He seems to know a lot about Logan, mentioning how he secretly took part in fighting the thieves and also looks after Charles Xavier near the border. Pierce says he knows that Gabriela spoke to Logan and that he only wants something she took from him. He gives Logan a card and asks him to call when he sees Gabriela again. The card says that Donald is in charge of security at Alkali Transigen, a company that works with biotechnology. Logan drives away, very angry. Logan goes to Mexico, where he and a psychic mutant named Caliban, who is an albino, take care of Xavier in an old building. Xavier is not as strong as before, disabled and has a brain disease that causes seizures. Because of his powers, the seizures create huge psychic waves that make anyone nearby unable to move. Logan has to give him a special medicine to control the seizures, but it often makes Xavier confused and forgetful. Xavier feels sad about losing his school and friends from the X-Men and thinks Logan is just waiting for him to die. Logan and Caliban argue about getting enough medicine for Xavier. Caliban says it's hard to care for Xavier, especially when Logan doesn't talk about his own needs, which Caliban can see clearly. Logan leaves angrily. Later, he gets a job to pick up 2 passengers and goes to a motel. There, he meets Gabriela again, who introduces the young girl, Laura, as her 11-year-old daughter. Gabriela offers Logan $50,000 to take them to a place called Eden in North Dakota on their way to Canada. She gives him an envelope with coordinates and $20,000 inside. Logan agrees, though not very happily, and goes home to get ready. He tells Xavier that their dream of leaving and buying a boat might actually happen. When Logan goes back to the motel, he discovers that Gabriela has been killed and Laura is gone. He takes Gabriela's phone and sees she was trying to send him a message to hurry because they were found. Feeling down, Logan goes home, only to be surprised that Laura hid in his limo's trunk. Xavier happily welcomes the girl and tries to convince Logan to help her. Logan thinks she will be found soon, and he's right, because Pierce shows up at their door. Logan says Laura isn't there, but when Pierce keeps asking, Laura throws a pipe at his head and knocks him out. Logan tells Caliban to take Pierce to the desert and leave him there. Caliban wears heavy clothes to protect his skin from the sun and takes Pierce away, but a group of skilled fighters from Transigen, called the Reavers, arrive. They pick up Pierce and capture Caliban. The Reavers go back to the building, and 2 of them enter to get Laura, who is calmly eating cereal, while Logan and the others wait outside. They hear noises from inside, like screams and gunshots. Laura comes out, throwing a Reaver's head at Pierce's feet. She shows her claws, 2 from each hand and 1 from each foot, and fights the Reavers fiercely. Logan, surprised, finally helps her, and they escape in the limo with Xavier and Laura in the back. The Reavers capture Caliban and hurt him with sunlight to make him use his powers to find the 3. Logan wants to know who Laura is, and Xavier says she is very similar to him. Logan checks Gabriela's phone for hints and finds a video showing she worked for Transigen in genetics. But the phone's battery dies before the video ends. They visit a store to get supplies. The store worker tries to stop Laura from stealing chips and sunglasses, but she easily flips him and almost uses her claws on him. Logan steps in and says, "Not okay." He takes a phone charger and a cigar, and they leave. At night, while the phone charges, Logan watches the rest of Gabriela's video. It shows her as a nurse involved in creating new mutant children through genetic experiments led by Dr. Xander Rice. They wanted to make super soldiers using DNA from known mutants, most of whom had died. The kids, including Laura, were called X-23 and grew up in harsh conditions, with no fun activities like birthdays allowed. The experiment failed because the children had too many emotions and didn't always obey orders. When X-24 was introduced, they decided to end the children's lives. Gabriella helped the kids escape instead of letting them be killed, and Eden was chosen as a safe place for them to live freely in Canada. In the last part of the video, Gabriella says she isn't Laura's mother but loves her anyway. In the video, Gabriella apologizes to Logan for lying about the money she'd pay him, but she hopes he'll protect Laura as her biological father. Logan, Xavier, and Laura go to Oklahoma City and stay in a hotel. Logan sees Laura reading an X-Men comic book and finds out that the coordinates to Eden are in the comic. He thinks the whole journey is fake. Upset, he tells Laura in front of Xavier that the X-Men stories are made up and Eden doesn't exist. Logan leaves them in their room and goes downstairs, where he notices the Reavers have tracked them down. Suddenly, everyone gets paralyzed, and Logan knows it's because Xavier is having a seizure. Since Logan can somewhat resist the effects, he tries to get back to the room where some Reavers have found Laura and Xavier. Logan kills them all, gives Xavier the medicine to stop the paralysis, and the three of them escape in a new car. While driving, they hear a news report about the Oklahoma City incident and how it's similar to an event in Westchester a year ago, but Logan turns off the radio. They almost get run off the road by a robotic freight truck and swerve to avoid hitting a pickup truck carrying horses. Xavier persuades Logan to help, and he uses his telepathic powers to bring the horses back. The pickup driver introduces himself as Will Munson, along with his wife Catherine and son Nate. Logan helps get their truck out of a ditch. Catherine invites Logan and his family to have dinner with them, and Xavier happily agrees. Logan wants to leave right after dinner, but Catherine invites them to stay the night because it's late. Logan agrees for Xavier's sake and carries him upstairs to bed. Noticing their water supply has been tampered with, Will goes to check it out, and Logan goes with him. They find and fix a leak at the pump far away, but a group of thugs led by the landowner confronts them. The man accuses Will of not making payments, but Logan hits one of the thugs with his own rifle and breaks it over his knee, scaring them away. At the house, Xavier is in bed and senses Logan entering the room. He tearfully asks Logan to be patient with Laura, who is asleep on the floor, and expresses guilt about what happened a year ago. It's hinted that Xavier had a huge seizure at his school in Westchester, causing the deaths of most X-Men. He apologizes, but Logan suddenly stabs him with his claws. Laura fights to protect Xavier. The attacker is revealed to be a ruthless clone of Logan, X-24, who kidnaps Laura and kills Nate and Catherine. When Will comes back, X-24 also attacks him. Logan rushes upstairs to get the barely alive Xavier, comforting him with "it wasn't me" as he carries him downstairs. Outside, the Reavers, Pierce, and Dr. Rice wait. Caliban is held in a van. The thugs who confronted Will earlier return for revenge, but X-24 kills them. Logan puts Xavier in a pickup truck, and he dies saying the name of their boat. Logan fights X-24 in anger. Meanwhile, Caliban resists his captors and detonates 2 grenades, repeating his mother's words, "Beware the light." The van explodes, throwing Pierce out while Rice escapes. Logan is almost defeated by X-24, but Will rams into him with his truck, pinning him against farm equipment. Will shoots X-24 repeatedly, then turns the gun on Logan, but it's empty. Will collapses, dead. Logan takes Laura and Xavier's body and drives away. The next morning, Dr. Rice and his crew tend to the scene and inject X-24 with a healing agent. Logan buries Charles in an unmarked grave in the woods, with Laura watching. Afterward, he smashes their truck in anger before passing out. He wakes up in a clinic where the doctor offers help, knowing the adamantium is killing him. Logan refuses and leaves with Laura. She finally speaks in Spanish, and they agree to go to Eden to meet her friends from Transigen. Exhausted, Logan lets Laura drive the last part of the journey. They reach a cliff where a lift takes them up to Eden, where the remaining children led by Richter are hiding. The kids prank Logan by shaving his beard while he sleeps, but he isn't amused. Richter gives Logan a serum to help him heal and warns him not to use it all at once. Logan tells Laura he's done his job and explains that everyone he cares about dies, so it's better if he leaves. Laura bitterly replies that she should be fine then. In the morning, Logan notices the children have left and sees that the Reavers are pursuing them. He rushes to help, injecting himself with the healing agent. Despite their powers, the children are outnumbered, but Logan manages to kill most of the Reavers. Confronting Dr. Rice, who is holding the children at gunpoint, Logan learns that Rice is the son of the man killed by Wolverine during the Weapon X project. Rice also admits to causing the extinction of mutants by introducing a virus into food supplies. Logan kills Rice and confronts Pierce, but X-24 is unleashed, and Logan fights his clone again. The children attack Pierce, using their powers to kill him, while Logan struggles against X-24. As the healing agent wears off, Logan is impaled on a dead tree limb by X-24. Laura uses an adamantium bullet to kill X-24, then frees Logan from the tree. But Logan's wounds aren't healing, and he tells Laura to run with the others. Laura tearfully calls him Daddy, and Logan says, "So, this is what it feels like before dying." The children bury Logan and place a cross at the head of the grave. Laura recites a passage from a western they watched in the hotel, speaking of the consequences of violence and the need to move forward. The children leave, their future uncertain but free. Laura adjusts the cross on Logan's grave, turning it sideways to resemble an X.